Hello, I'm Daniel Linder. I'm a marriage family therapist and addiction specialist and a relationship trainer practicing in the San Francisco Bay Area for over 30 years. And I'm also the creator of the relationship model of addiction. Which brings me to the topic of what this video blog is going to be about today. And that is the need to love and what happens when it's denied. And this also is kind of at the core of this model that I just alluded to, the relationship model of addiction. So it really comes down to the need to love and what happens when it's denied. I want to begin by talking about Brendon Burchard of the Experts Academy. He's a mentor of mine, and I've been attending his workshops, several over the last several months, and in all of the workshops he shares an experience where when he discovered his need to love, and he had this life-threatening accident and near-death experience, out of which emerged a clear revelation that he needs to love and make a difference in the world, and that he's on this planet to do that. And that marked a turning point in his life. And so, hearing this story sort of planted a seed and made me kind of closer to my own need to love. And not too long ago, I had an experience where I discovered my need to love. And I want to share that with you. And that is, this was between an interaction that I had with my son's girlfriend. And so just to give you a little background here, my son and his girlfriend have been involved for over 2 years, but most of the relationship had been via Skype. They have a long-distance relationship. He was either here in this country and she was in Culiacan, Mexico, or he moved to Mexico City to do a master's program there, and she remained in Culiacan. So they had very infrequent visits. So, but they were carrying on their relationship with Skype. So whenever I called Jason, my son, he was often on Skype with Claudia, his girlfriend, and I have the technology to have Skype, a three-way Skype, so all three of us were on Skype. This was at a time when there was some tension in their relationship. I've been developing a relationship with Claudia. I've talked to her many, many times and have felt very connected to her. But in this call, there was obvious tension in their relationship because they were trying to make plans to move, for her to move so they could be together physically. So she started opening up about her fears and her insecurities about going. She was living with her parents, and she was very afraid of going to Mexico City without a job, without a place to stay, and just take this huge plunge. And she was very, very scared and insecure about it, but she was opening up to me and was very vulnerable in terms of what, sharing what her fears were. And I just felt so much empathy and appreciation of what her insecurities were about. And I just started encouraging her to kind of go with her heart, take the plunge, and believe in her, and that she could do this and everything's going to work out. She's more capable and talented than she realizes. And I also was aware that she doesn't have a close relationship with her father, and a lot of her insecurities and inhibitions and fears were coming from a lack of relationship with her parents, and particularly her father. And so she didn't have that confidence that she needed. So I was encouraging her to go for it. And shortly after this conversation, she did. But what happened was that there was an exchange between us that really moved me. And after this conversation, I was talking to my son, and just telling her how much I appreciate Claudia and how connected I am to her. And he asked me, "Dad, are you attracted to Claudia?" And I just stopped for a second, and the answer was no. I wasn't sexually attracted to her or attracted to her in that way, but something deep was moved inside of me. And I started getting in touch with never having a daughter, and all of a sudden I was expressing love to Claudia as if she was my daughter. And this was an epiphany for me. This was a revelation that I had this need. I realized that I had this need to love a daughter that was never realized because I didn't know there was no daughters in my life. So, and I don't know that Claudia is going to be a daughter, but I am relating to her as a daughter. So I really made a difference for her because she ended up taking the plunge, and I gave her the confidence and the belief in her that she needed. And I felt like I made a huge difference and had this very, very deep, intimate connection with her. So after this, I was much more aware of my need to love. And I just started connecting the dots here and realized that the work that I do, I'm being a marriage family therapist and just working with people in this way. I chose this profession because of my need to love. Because when I'm working with my clients and they feel safe with me and they open up and share their problems and bare their soul and are receptive to what I say to them and how the input and support and insight that I offer them, that they could receive that, and I could see the transformation before my eyes, the shift that occurs because of this exchange that we had, which blows me away. This is why I'm doing the work that I do, because it gives me an opportunity to love, and I need to express that. I love my clients, and it's only been recently where I have gotten much more comfortable with this because, as a therapist, I try to stay in a role and maintain boundaries and professionalism. And oftentimes in the past, when I felt how deeply connected I am to my clients, it was a little taboo for me to say or even think that I love them. But now I'm free and I'm comfortable and I could say that I love them. Many, many clients that I have now, male and female, I could say to them that I love you because I do, and it feels so good. So these experiences that I'm talking to you about really awakened an awareness in me that it's really clear that I need to love, and that when I have that need met, when I have that deep connection with someone, something happens inside of me, and it's a nourishment, it's an inspiration, it's a life force. I'm just lit up, I'm animated, I'm happy, I'm connected, and it's like my purpose in life. There's nothing, that's really all that matters to me. So I also at the same time became aware of when that need's not met, like that conversation with Claudia. If I didn't have that conversation, there would have been an emptiness and a missing and a hunger. So when I don't get this need met, I'm aware that when I don't get this need met to love and to really connect on a deep level, there's a void, there's an emptiness, and there's a pain that hurts. And then I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with the pain, and I'm looking for a relief, and I want to distract myself, and I go in a fantasy world. I go in my own world, and I find ways to disconnect from that. And so continuing on here, I realized, I've always believed this anyway, but I realized I'm not alone here. I'm not the only one who needs to love. And I also, when I talk about the need to love, I want to be clear that what I've done is kind of distilled down all emotional needs that we have, whether it's to feel special, to be heard, to be understood, all the needs, basic human needs, emotional needs that we have, I've distilled down to the need to love. So this is what addiction's all about. This is what my relationship model of addiction is about. It's about the need to love and what happens when it's denied. Because when you don't have that need met, there's pain. And then there's a need to relieve the pain. And then your life becomes about relieving pain. So what happens when you're addicted, when your emotional needs or need to love is not met, there's pain and you're desperate for relief. So you end up eventually finding a means of relief and establishing a relationship with that means of relief. And so you have a relationship with a means of relief that you're seeking, and you're not seeking relationships with other people, and those what would otherwise be opportunities for deep connections are no longer available to you because you're not looking for love anymore, you're looking for relief. So you're cutting yourself off from those opportunities and thereby increasing the pain level and the isolation and the emotional deprivation that occurs. Also, when that need is not met and there's pain, we go through various efforts and find various means to get out of that pain and escape that pain, and they all wind down to disconnecting from the pain, disconnecting from it, cutting off from it, shutting down emotionally. And when you shut down emotionally, you amputate a part of yourself, because that emotional part of yourself that you need, it's not just, you don't have the ability to just relieve the pain. You wind up cutting off and disconnecting from all your feelings, disconnecting from your emotional self, and that part of yourself is what you need to connect with other people and to have intimacy, because it's an emotional experience. So you don't have that available to you when you're in your addiction, or when there is that need that's unmet, and then there's pain and you have to relieve that pain. So in summary, life takes a divergent path. You either love or you suffer. You're either seeking contact with others, or you're seeking relief. You're either growing or you're either getting nourished and are growing, or your life is lost defending against the pain. And all of this goes on with unconsciously. You're not even aware of what's going on because denial is operating, and that keeps you from having any conscious awareness of what's going on inside of you. So that's basically what happens. This is really about the need to love and what happens when it's denied. And I'd like to open this up for a continuing dialogue. Any comments, any continuing questions, or comments that you have, I'd greatly appreciate, and we can keep this dialogue going. So be well until I see you again.